Well, certainly the first in the nation primary called for Donald Trump. That is something that has never happened before for the third time in a row. And that's something else we don't usually see in his victory speech tonight. The former president didn't just bring his family on stage. He brought a list of surrogates as well, including former presidential candidates who campaigned in New Hampshire, then dropped out of the race and endorsed him. Vivek Ramaswamy took the mic tonight, calling for Nikki Haley to drop out, and Senator Tim Scott standing right behind Trump, notably appointed by Haley to the Senate.
Now, this wasn't just unusual because of those surrogates up on stage either, Monica. Trump wasn't just taking a victory lap here. He spoke in very stark terms with his supporters about what he sees as the stakes of this election. In fact, at one point, telling this crowded room of supporters it was an invite-only event, packed in here, a lot of energy, but he told those supporters that he believes if he does not win this election, the country will be, quote, finished. And Trump also not happy that he's leaving New Hampshire with another Republican still in the race with him. He directly called out Nikki Haley multiple times.
And just a little note to Nikki, she's not going to win. She did very poorly, actually. She had to win. The governor said she's going to win, she's going to win, she's going to win. Then she failed badly.
And over the last few days leading up to the primary, the former president had said that he wanted a big win in New Hampshire, a big margin. He had a strong ground game here, even stronger than in 2016 and 2020 when the former president won the state. It has yet to be seen, though, what the margin will be as the votes are still being counted.
Yeah, those votes still very much so coming in. Donald Trump even making mention at one point that he was happy he came out to talk to his crowd when at that point of the counting he was up by double digits, but still plenty of those votes left to be counted, so exactly what that margin of victory will be is yet to be seen, and what impact that may have on the future races as well, as Nikki Haley looking to stay in this race. We're reporting live in Nashua. Back to you guys.
Okay, guys, and it is clear President Trump the big winner tonight on the GOP side, but the Haley campaign is saying they're happy with their second place finish.
Jamie Staten, Ariel Metropolis have been manning Haley headquarters for us tonight.
Well, a double-digit loss for any candidate in any race is not ideal, but this is the one situation where the candidate is calling it a win because she cut her deficit from Iowa in half, essentially.
Right, and she has made it very clear the entire time that she has been here that she was okay with a second place finish. She just wanted a strong performance here in New Hampshire. That was the key for her. She did congratulate Donald Trump tonight. Let's listen in to what she said.
I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it, and I want to acknowledge that. Now, you've all heard the chatter among the political class. They're falling all over themselves, saying this race is over. It's not over. Well, I have news for all of them. New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over.
And Nikki Haley went on to once again challenge Donald Trump to a debate. We'll see if that happens in South Carolina. But the real lesson here is don't mess with Judge Judy, because 2 days ago, Judge Judy rolled into town. Nikki Haley was down 20%. Ariel gave Judge Judy some airtime, and now we have a much tighter race.
Sure, but I mean, the key thing is here tonight that Nikki Haley is declaring victory. Even if she didn't fully come out with the win tonight, she and her campaign say this is a success for her. They are moving on to South Carolina, her home state, where they believe they can continue to be successful, move on to Super Tuesday. They see a route moving forward for her. So in her words, we're on to South Carolina. We'll send it back to you guys.